welcome to the Red River Valley of North Dakota. A land flowing with milk and honey. You're watching Beet Farmin Mitch. The cold weather is here. It is chilly and the weather forecast is going to be getting cold. So I mean, we're going to freeze up here pretty quick. We're just right on our end of our farming field work season and we're kind of just finishing up some tillage. So I'm in a cornfield right here right now. You just saw some drone footage. It's hard to see. It doesn't look like this tool is doing a whole lot here from the air, but it actually is on the ground here. So this is corn ground. So we had corn here and so we disc chiseled this. And this is now after I've gone over it, but before I go over it, you can see it's a little bit more uneven. There's a little bigger chunks like this, and there's kind of like some ridges here from the disc chisel a little bit. So kind of helping to level off some of that, crumble it up a little bit, and seal it up good for the winter months. So we're running a Salford RTS on this puppy. So it's basically a vertical tillage tool, meaning these discs are at a 0-degree angle. We got the waffle blades on here. We got her pretty deep in the ground, but it's doing a nice job here. It looks good behind. Then you got your spring tooth harrows, kind of help crumble up some stuff. And then the rolling baskets, additional crumbling and leveling. So looks good behind here. Looks like that's ready to be put to bed for the year, for the winter. Ready to come in the spring. And see, this is a win right here. Already, we got our crops off and we've got our corn ground worked. So that's great because unworked corn ground in the spring, not very good. So I'm running the Cat Challenger MT 765B. So this is a smaller frame Cat tractor. And so it's actually row crop, so you can see the narrow tracks there. The wider ones is better for field work, but we like these row crop tractors because we're row crop farmers and we need it for certain things. But I'm gonna get back inside, it's cold out here. All right, let's let her rip. We've got a 40-foot Salford on here, and yeah, running it pretty deep. We're going at 9.2 miles an hour roughly. So cruising along pretty good. So you cover a lot of ground with 40 feet at 9.2 miles an hour. So this is what you would say is a high-speed tillage tool because you're going pretty fast. I mean, you tell your average car driver 9.2 miles an hour, that's slow. Well, in a tractor, that's fast. We're zipping at 9.2 miles an hour. And you can tell when you're in a tractor, just the tiniest little speed differences make a big difference out here. You know, this is a fun tractor. You got so much visibility. That is one thing I really noticed about this tractor is the sheer amount of visibility. They really did a good job on that. I can see my tracks. I can see all around me. I can see the sky. I can see airplanes. I can see all kinds of stuff. You know, I was talking to somebody the other day and I was telling how we finished harvest, and I'm just glad that we're done because it was such a busy summer, such a busy spring because we had a late spring. We had some lot of snow, a lot of flooding this spring, so we were in the fields late. So we had a late start. Things looked okay. I mean, we had moisture, we got things started, and then garden year. Sprinkler rains every time we needed it. We turned out we had great crops across the board, across the fields, and so that, I mean, that was really unbelievable to see how everything just looked not great at the start and then turned out great. And so there you go, a little life parable. Is your life off to a rough start? Well, it's never too late to turn it around. Just gotta talk to the Lord. So with that, I mean, it was a great year and we're sitting good. We're caught up with tillage. We got a lot of fertilizer in for next spring already. It's about as good as you can ask for. But anyway, so that person I was talking about asked me how this year went. I told him it was busy and whatnot. And then I was thinking, I'm like, you know, every farm year is different. Every year I've been around on the farm as a kid and even now farming full time, every year is a little different. Every year has its own unique set of challenges that it brings. Every year has its pros, every year has its cons, and you know, no 2 years are the same. And so Jenny and I, she's my wife, we're recently married, and I just kind of tell her like, well, it's not normally like this. And then I kind of think about that some more and I'm like, well, not every year is normal. Everything's a little different every year. So fun little farmer note for you. Here's a little weather snapshot, but you can see our window is pretty much out. It's showing 100% chance of rain today. Not too worried about that. Don't think it's gonna be more than a few sprinkles. But we got a snowstorm coming specifically on Thursday, 90% chance. And then she's gonna get cold for a while. I mean, we're talking lows of all the way down to -2 and highs in the 20s, low 20s. So our ground is gonna get a snow cover on it, which is great, and then it's gonna freeze up, which it's time for that. We work until we can't in the year. Just because we finish harvesting our crops doesn't mean we're done for the year. Like, we farm and we work full year round, but with harvest, it's extra busy, and then we try to get our tillage done until the big freeze, which is like in a day or two, few days, and then at that point, things start to slow down once things freeze up. I mean, yesterday we spent all day getting the combines and all that stuff tucked away in the sheds. And so, I mean, there's still plenty to do after harvest. But the nice thing is, once we get all that done, we get back to the winter months and we can spend time to work normal business hours in the shop, servicing, waxing, greasing, all of our equipment, all that good stuff, hauling grain, business stuff, all kinds of different things, and a little bit of R&R too. You know, with farming, things change all the time. Every year, the weather, everything, nothing is constant really in farming. I mean, there are constants, but everything's changing, everything's variable. And so I've seen horrible farming weather years, I've seen amazing farming weather years. A lot of my time growing up, actually, they weren't that great. I saw a lot being young. There's so many variables, but you can't let those things run your life. You can't let those run your emotions. Like, of course I want great crops. Of course I want to do my best with what I've been given. But at the same time, there's only so much you can do, because if your farming year is all hail, yes, you got to manage risk, you got to do all these things, but you can't let that drag down your own home life. You can't let that drag down your relationships and your family and things like that. And so, yes, it's important to care about those things, but at the same time, it's also important to not let those things control your life, because the weather changes, the markets change. The markets are high and the weather's great. I mean, that's awesome. But at the same time, when the markets are low and the weather's bad, are you gonna let that run your life, or are you gonna have a constant anchor? And so what is your anchor? I don't know, but my anchor is definitely the Lord. He hasn't always been my anchor. I mean, he's always been there for me, but I was kind of a little rascal back in the day. But anyway, just a little end of the year farmer advice on emotions and things like that. And it's easy to say something like that on a good year. I know it's harder to say something like that on a bad year, but you know, I'm a young farmer. I'm 24 years old, gonna be 25, and I got a lot to learn and a lot to grow in. But yeah, I think something I'm really looking forward to this winter is I'll have a lot more free time to spend with Jenny, and so I'm excited to really help like grow our marriage and put into that, because I know after being a husband for 4 months, I know I don't know much, and I have a lot to learn. And so I'm excited for this winter. I think we really need to build a good, strong, firm foundation of our marriage, and I'm looking forward to that a lot. But anyway, we're gonna finish up, we're gonna keep tilling here, and so enjoy seeing this, and we'll see you soon. Oh, looks like we got some snow. You know what that means. Time to start living life again. We got a smoked turkey breast on the smoker here, and we're cooking her up for supper tonight. So all the field work is done. The snow is on the ground. It's gonna be too wet to do anything in the fields. So we're done with field work, kind of back in the normal swing of life. This season is welcomed when it comes, because after we have a good year and we're done with everything, well, we still keep working. My brothers and I, Casey and Jason, we're still just us three hammering in the shop, changing oil on trucks, fixing broken stuff, and we got tractors and beet equipment, all kinds of different stuff to go through, and that pretty much takes us all winter long. We got kind of some grilling season going on tonight. I got a smoked turkey from L&M Meats. You should check them out. They're pretty good at what they do. So we're gonna see how that goes, and we're gonna pair it with some Leo's potato dumplings. I grew up on these things, and yeah, they're the bomb. Between Leo's potato dumplings and Bohemian shorts, I mean, that's kind of partially what made me what I am today. So winter season brings grilling and life and freedom with time a little bit. And of course, endless stacks of mail to go through. And it also brings plenty of time for video editing. This is the sunflower video, which I haven't finished yet, but by now, maybe you've seen it. And if not, you should probably go check it out. Bon appetit. Merry Christmas, everybody, from Jenny and I. Thank you for watching the vids this year and for being with us. A lot happened this year.
We got married.
We got married, yes. We got married and we're living life, and it's our first married winter together, so we're pretty excited for that.
And our first married Christmas.
And our first married Christmas is coming up soon. We've got our tree decorated with the King of Kings up on top with the nativity scene and the life motto, faith, family, farming, in that order. There you go. So anyway, this is Beet Farmin Mitch.
And Beet Farmin Jenny.
And don't forget to keep it sweet.
And have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.